Hello there, I'm Jo Baldwin-Trott and I'm thrilled to be one of the authors of a collaborative book, now an international bestseller, no less, Remote Working, published by Writing Matters with the top editor of Andrew Priestley. And this interview today is with two of my co-authors. We have Marcia Brown, all the way from Elephant and Castle down the road from me in London. Hi, Marcia.
Hi.
And then we have Mike Davis-Marks, who's right by the sea in Southsea.
Hello, Jo. Hello, Marcia.
Hello. Hi, Mike.
So thanks for coming on. So this is just a little snapshot, just trying to bring the authors alive about the book. Because obviously, you know, lots of people are buying the book, obviously, but this is just a chance for you guys to give across the reason why you were drawn to the project, and a little bit about your story. And then obviously your best tip for people that are home, working from home right now, that didn't expect this, have no idea how to do it successfully, and we'll go from there. So Marcia, let's start with you.
Right, okay, so my story is I started cake making, which then turned to making leather shoes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was drawn to writing the story because so let me start from this situation. I got made redundant. So when I got made redundant, I didn't know what to do. So in the end, I started just doing some research on the internet and so on. And then in the end, I started visiting a shop, which I got drawn to, and I just kept visiting the shop until I decided to start baking cakes. However, I wasn't drawn to the baking side of the cakes. I was drawn to the creativity side, which is carving, molding, making different shapes and so on. Before long, I made a cake for my friend. My friend liked it. Then I was drawn to making quite a lot of cakes, several cakes. That catapulted me very quickly into an area that I wasn't quite sure about, but I started making shoes, handbag and shoes, to go on top of cakes, and they started off at very
Not
small
literally.
shoes. Yeah, very small shoes. Very small shoes, and then I started making large shoes. Then I started making handbag and shoe cakes, and it started drawing an audience that was kind of like luxury end. So in the end, it started to plateau. When I say it started to plateau, I got bored.
Okay.
So yeah, so then a byproduct came off that, which was I decided to teach people how to make the shoes. So the people in the cakey world got a video, some cutters and a mold and so on in a kit and a video to learn to make shoes. So quite a lot happened with the kit. In the end, I made a TV program. I went on another platform, did a kit, made a handbag and shoe video on another platform. So basically it became a worldwide thing, actually. So then the shoes, the cake kit plateaued. So I decided to continue with making the shoes. So the shoes now became embellished. They became colourful, lots of different things. In the end, I decided to take it out of the cake industry, put it in the home-based industry. So I'm saying, okay, you can buy these shoes and you can put them on your mantelpiece or whatever as ornaments. In the end, that attracted people who thought they were real shoes. So in the end, I was challenged to make real leather shoes. So that's where I am at the moment, making real leather shoes. But the reason I really wanted to share my story is you can start working from home. However, you cannot ever envisage or even understand, comprehend, whatever word you want to use, where your talent or your gifting may take you, or even if you've got a talent. I didn't even know how to draw. In fact, everything I do not put down on paper. It all comes from my mind. So yeah, it all comes from my mind. Even the cakes, people used to order a cake. As they just send a picture, I would look at the picture and be able to make the cake. Even with the shoes, I can look at a shoe and just go in the kitchen, design the shoe, and that's it, and put on the cake. So what we're saying is that for people to don't worry about what can I do? How can I start? Just do something.
Yeah.
That something may turn into a hobby. It may turn into something that you are so obsessed with doing. Then it can grow from one step to the next step to the next step. And that's exactly what happened with me. Hence, I labelled the chapter from cakes to leather shoes.
Which is fantastic. Thank you. What a story. Oh my gosh.
A lot has happened.
But I think you're right. So I've been an entrepreneur for 9 years now, and my business now is very different to how it was back 9 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's evolved with me, and
Yeah.
and if you underpin it always with your passion and your true purpose,
Yeah.
then before you know it, do you know what? It just is part of you. It doesn't need to be work and home life, because they are one of the same, which actually, you know, is I think the best kind of business to be in. It's like this doesn't work for me. This is pure joy.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. That's what I said. The best environment to actually grow your gifting, your passion, whatever you end up doing in life, is from home, because you're relaxed.
Yeah. Totally agree. As long as you've got the other stuff, all the noisy stuff, kind of the kids and everything. But yeah, you do. Yeah, no, that's really, really fascinating. Thank you so much for sharing that. I haven't read your chapter yet, Marcia, I'm afraid, but I can't wait to read it now and go on your website, Marcia Brown Shoes. Fantastic. Okay, thank you for sharing that. And Mike, over to you.
So, so the context of this is that the first 36 years of my adult life were spent in the Navy in submarines. I spent quite a large portion underwater. So I've been fairly used to working remotely, but perhaps not in the sense that the book was meaning. But what that did give me was a passion for the way that people can work together in teams. And, you know, and if you're, you know, in a cigar tube underwater for months on end, working out how to get people to work together is pretty important in all of that. I left the Navy at the end of my time 7.5 years ago, and fell in with a bunch of social entrepreneurs who were looking at the world and saying, actually, we can work differently. We want to create businesses that have social impact, but we want to do that, you know, through a network approach rather than, you know, go to an office and things like that. So we started off, you know, from a remote working perspective, about how do you get people to collaborate when they're not in the same building, office space, or whatever it is. And this is all under a topic called The Future of Work, which ironically enough is the title of my particular article in this book. And it looks at the way that technology enables people to collaborate and work together in teams, despite the fact they may be at different ends of the country or in different countries entirely. And so the passion I brought from the Navy about how do you get people, you know, working together, collaborating, is something that I've continued, but you know, through this social entrepreneur network, and working from home. I'm speaking to you from home at the moment, and it's all about understanding how people can collaborate using technology, but also mindset. It's important to know that actually, you know, if you're part of a network, it's the network that's got the answers, potentially got the answers to the problems, but you have to connect them with each other in a way that allows them to do that. So that's been a fascinating journey. And when Andrew, you know, mentioned that he was doing a book on remote working as a result of us being plunged into lockdown at homes, I thought that you know, my experience over the last 7.5 years might be interesting for some people to read about in terms of what might, you know, work for them and what tips I might be able to offer.
Yeah, fantastic. No, definitely. I mean, and especially your experience is very unusual, and I'm sure there's so much, you know, that you the way you see things about teamwork, you know, because without that, you know, being so constrained. I mean, I'm just imagining what it's like being in a submarine for such a long time and maintaining those energies, all those different people going through all their different emotional journeys of being away from their families. Gosh, my head is spinning with it. I can't imagine how challenging that was. But
Well,
I suppose ultimately it's actually about the basic principle of actually, if you can allow people to feel safe, secure, and being able to share what's going on with them, and then therefore communicate about their personal and professional lives, then job done. I guess that sounds really simple. It's probably not that simple at all.
well, so I think that's really important. And I mean, the most important thing is this is all about people. You know, and just going back to my naval background, you know, I commanded a submarine that was worth £1 billion, but it's just a bit of metal until you put people in it. It's the people in it that matter, not the physical entity that you're driving around the oceans or under the oceans. And the analogy that I often give to people is a bit like a Swiss watch. If you take the back off a Swiss watch, and I've never tried, but if you know, I've seen diagrams of it, you'll see that it's a complex mechanism with big cogs and small cogs and lots of other mechanisms. And the point is that if you take the smallest cog out of that watch, the watch stops working. And that applies to people as well. So in a ship's company of 120 people in a cigar tube underwater, the most junior sailor on board is just as important as the captain, because like a Swiss watch, you can't, if you take the smallest cog out, it stops working. So everybody is valuable and is valued because they've all got a part to play. And if they don't play their part, then actually the whole is not as effective as it should be. It stops working. And so therefore the trick is to make sure that the small cogs I feel just as recognized, valued as the big cogs. And if you can translate that from the Navy into the civilian world, it's just as applicable. Organizations work better when you value the biggest asset on the books, which is people. And so therefore finding ways of getting people to collaborate, whether it's virtually like we're doing now, or whether it's physically because you share an office, is probably the most important thing that any organization can do. But actually when you're in terms of crisis, as we currently are, it's more important than ever.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then there will be teams struggling. There'll be teams struggling with getting used to using Zoom and Skype and all these different technologies. So yeah, no, that's really, really interesting. And in some ways, I suppose this has flattened out the playing field, hasn't it? Because everyone's just at the end of a video, on the end of a phone or video. You know, it's completely taken out the hierarchy in a way of who we are and where our office is and what our office looks like, or you know, it's just completely diluted it all to actually we're all just working from home doing the same thing, which I think is fascinating right now. But anyway, well, listen, thank you so much to both of you, Marcia and to Michael. So Marcia, you can be found at Marcia Brown Shoes online, and
Marcia Brown Footwear.
Sorry, Marcia Brown Footwear.
Yes,
Good,
there's
good.
lots of Marcia Browns.
Are there? But
Yeah.
there's only one
There's
of you,
Marcia
only
Brown
one
Design,
of you that's gone from cakes to shoes. I love that. That's so good. And Mike, you're busy setting up businesses that create social impact as well. So that's but everyone can find you on LinkedIn as well. Is that the best place?
I've passed, yes, all my details there. Can I just ask Marcia a question? Are your cakes made from shoe pastry?
Okay, so the handbags are actually made from sponge cake, and the actual shoes are made from sugar paste.
Good.
Sugar paste.
Sorry,
Marcia.
I was being slightly cheeky then.
Marcia, he was being cheeky. He
Oh,
was
okay.
pulling your leg that over Zoom. Can you do that? You can now.
You can do anything over Zoom, but
you can, I suppose. Yeah, well, that's true. Hey, the options are endless. I had a live jam the other night I play the guitar and write songs. And I had a live jam. I wrote a song with someone over Zoom the other night. Probably wouldn't have been so brave actually if I hadn't been on Zoom. Anyway, this is Jo Baldwin-Trott, and this is our amazing book, Remote Working. Buy it now. It's on Kindle, and it's coming out coming out in hardback tomorrow. Well, paperback rather. And it will be, hopefully, we're going to make it into an Audible as well, which would be super exciting. I'm very excited for that because I'm all about Audible. And yeah, so buy yours now on Kindle. Thank you for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed the interview.